Hello friends, and welcome to The Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you certainly know that this is my deep dive into an intriguing and mind-expanding deck called the Egyptian Tarot by C.C. Zane and the Brotherhood of Light. And just in case you are new to this series or this channel, let me give you the lowdown. What exactly am I doing here? Well, every night before I go to bed, I riffle shuffle my color, very easy to repurchase mass market edition of the Egyptian Tarot by C.C. Zane. And I pull a card. And while I'm shuffling the card, I ask this question: what would I benefit from giving my attention to the following day? So I riffle shuffle, pull the card, and then I pull the matching card from my very out of print charcoal gray and white version of the same deck. Now that deck is very precious to me because I think it was published in the year of my birth, and so I want to keep it pristine or as clean as I can, so I don't shuffle that one. But I pull the card, and I look at the cards, notice the differences, I expect the similarities, and then I ask another deck to help me unpack this deck, because this is a deck I'm still trying to learn and I'd like to have a little bit of help. So I use the Tarot of the Holy Light by Christine Payne-Towler, the brilliant creator of that deck. And it's a deck that I'm starting to get more familiar with. So I do a 3-card spread with that deck. The 3 cards are significance of my daily draw card for me in the following day. The second card is the challenge, either positive or negative. And the third card is advice. Yeah, significance, challenge, advice. And then I go to sleep, I wake up, the next day I live my day, and at the end of the day I reflect. I analyze the spread, I reflect on how those meanings may or may not have easily revealed themselves to me during the day. Now, because they may not have easily revealed themselves to me, does not mean that the card was wrong or that the tarot was misdirecting me, but rather that I still need to do a little bit more reflection. I still need to do a little bit more of assessment of both the card itself and perhaps the events of the day. And sometimes later on, I recall, oh yes, there was that I forgot about. Or, oh, I didn't pay much attention to that during the day, but now that I think about it, oh, that could have been it. Or I may want to add some more meaning to the card than I had originally envisioned. Does that make sense? So that's what we're doing. And I've already got the cards all laid out. I've gotten photographs of them. So let me show you the daily draw card for today right now. You just saw 2 versions of the same card. And frankly, when this card showed up for me, I laughed. Do you know why I laughed? If you saw the thumbnail for today, you know that the day that this video was recorded, where I am, was February the 8th. And what was my daily draw card for today? It was Justice, which is which number of the major arcana? It's the number 8. And if you've been following along with me, you may just remember that 1 month ago, on January the 8th, this card also came up as my daily draw card. You can't make this shit up. Yeah? So let me show you this beautiful card, the Justice card from the Egyptian Tarot. Again, the 8th of 2 months, the 8th of January and the 8th of February, this card showed up. And the 8th of January was the day I gave my demonstration class for the winter camp, and I interviewed a whole bunch of students, and it was my first full day at the winter camp in January. So all of these things were running around in my mind as I was looking at the card. And another thing that was interesting was that day, January 8th, the advice card was the King of Cups. And let's see what the advice is going to be today. Keep that in mind. Yeah, January 8th, I got advice for this kind of a day as the King of Cups. So, okay, now I keep talking about the past. Let's focus on today. So, in this card, you notice, what do we have? We've got the female figure sitting in a chair, holding scales. They're small, but in both cards, they're the same, yeah? You'll notice at her side, there is a large lion, and on the back of the lion, there is a sphinx. Now, the sphinx is for perhaps wisdom, but it reminds me of both the chariot and of the wheel of fortune. The lion reminds me of the strength card. So there are a few images or symbols on this card that remind me of other things. And behind the figure of perhaps Lady Justice is the goddess Mat. And goddess Mat has her wings spread forward, her arm wings spread forward, and she's the goddess of truth, order, and right. And in case you didn't know, it's a feather from her wing that Anubis uses in the scales when weighing out the heart. You know, in Egyptian in the Egyptian beliefs about the process of death and moving into the next life or into the afterlife, there is the weighing of the heart. Anubis puts the heart of the dead person on scales like the justice card, and on the other side lays a feather. That feather comes from the goddess Mat. So we've got the idea of also death here too, with Mat showing up. So there's a lot of imagery, there's a lot of symbolism woven throughout this one card. And I love this card in this deck. So you'll also notice that it's associated with Capricorn in this deck. So Justice points to Capricorn, the domicile of Saturn, from which these cardinal Earth's vital attributes enter our world. So because this is associated with, again, Capricorn, now the working one, the one climbing to the top, the one ending the dry path of the zodiac, ready for Aquarius to start leading us on the wet way back down to Earth, right? The Capricorn is the one who climbs to the top. We begin the return of the light, we climb to the top towards the divine, and then we move right back into Aquarius and back down the wet way to the Earth, right? So we've got all of these layers here in this one card. And because it's, again, Capricorn, that is the domicile of Saturn, the cutting of things, the boundaries, this is right, this is not right, right? All of that is layered into this card. And the guidebook, also layered into this, because it is the number 8, we have the Hebrew letter Het, which is a fence or a gate. But it's also the gate of the womb. Yeah, if we see the womb as a gateway into life, we can also see the tomb as a gateway into life. So death as a gateway into new life, or the womb as a gateway into new life. Those are layered in with Heth. Also the rune Wunjo, which looks like a stick with a flag at the top. Yeah, that's the rune for joy, but also balance. Also the group. Yeah, it's not an individual thing. This is justice of the collective. Also, and attraction. Not like, hey babe, what you doing? But like the law of attraction, the drawing of things. So, all of that said, the guidebook for this deck gives us ideas like justice is justice. And also equilibrium, keeping of balances, right? Also balance of things like aspects of life. For example, work and play. Now, one of the guidebooks says, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So moderation in all things. And a lot of people associate moderation with temperance, I believe. But it's here in this deck. Perhaps because of Capricorn. Yeah, Capricorn can be a little bit hyper-focused on work. So we want balance, work and play. Directed thought banishes that crystallization, not crystallization like Scorpio likes crystallization of water, but rather the crystallization that impedes movement forward. That which blocks the flow. But also there's a piece of advice to not allow things to hang in the balance. We want our balance to be active, not fixed and immobile, right? That's part of that warning about crystallization. We don't want the balance to just stop. We want our balance to be like when a ship or an airplane navigates. Yeah, it doesn't go in a straight line. It goes this way and then this way and course correct and course correct and course correct, or a ship tack. Yeah, that kind of a balance, I think, is what is called for here. One piece of advice that's really good for me: curb the urge to dictate, curb the urge to lay down the law, because that's the negative aspect of this card. Pleasure can also stimulate more productivity. Having fun at work, for example, can make you more productive. And that's something that Capricorn could very well take a lesson in, I believe. So we've got all of this layered into this card. There's also I think it's an owl above here. I forget which bird it is. But the bird up there is important, and its significance has flown my mind. And just in case you know, let me know in the comments below. Let us all know in the comments below. So that is the overall thing that I wanted to have paid attention to today, which is pretty heavy stuff, right? And so I had my helper deck help me unpack this card for me, these cards, these versions of the same card. So let me show you those three cards right now. You just saw from left to right, there were, for the significance card was the star, but reversed. And then we had the Three of Wands, also reversed. And then the advice card, that was the challenge. The advice card was the King of Discs. Remember, I asked you to keep in mind that the last time that the Justice card came up for me, 1 month ago on the 8th of January, the advice card was what? The King of Cups. This time it's the King of Discs. Well, not here, but the King of Discs, which I thought was really interesting. Yeah, but let's start off with the significator, the significance card, not the significator, but the significance card. What is the significance of justice for me today? And that, again, was the star card reversed. But let me show it to you upright. Now, here we have a lot of the same symbols that we see in both the Rider-Waite-Smith decks and the Tarot de Marseille deck. Yeah, we've got a bright central star and then 7 other stars around it, right? 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, 7 other stars around it, reminding us a little bit of maybe Aquarius, maybe, or the Pleiades. Anyways, so we got this star cluster up at the top. We also have a female figure, this time a little bit clothed, and one foot is clearly in the water. The other foot is perhaps out of the water. It's not exactly clear. In the Tarot de Marseille and in the Rider-Waite-Smith card, it is clear that one knee is on land and one foot is in the water. Here, it's not exactly clear. But she is pouring 2 different vessels into, pouring out 2 different vessels. One is clearly going in the water, and one looks like it's pouring out on land. And we've also got a bird up in the tree, right? No, I'm sorry, it's not on this side, it's on this side. There's the bird. Doesn't look much like an ibis to me, but it looks like a bird, which is common for a star card. And you see, well, it's difficult to see here, but let me tell you, the attribution for the star in this deck is Mercury. So the star points to Mercury, which resides in both Gemini and Virgo, from which these mutable air and Earth's vital attributes enter our world. Right? Both Mercury and Jupiter inhabit only mutable signs. So Mercury is in mutable Earth and mutable air. Right? So Virgo is mutable air. Virgo is mutable Earth. Gemini is mutable air. So Mercury is beaming through both of its homes into the world, into our natal charts, and in this case, into the question that we're asking of the tarot. Yeah, so that's important. But also important is that the star card is number 17, which also does what? It reduces down to 8. If you reduce that way. Some people would say, no, it matches up with 7. For me, 17 reduces to 8, and that's important because it's my shuffle, right? So there is that the numerical echo between justice and the star card here. And when you think of it, yeah, justice has the 2 scales, the star has the 2 pots of water. Right? These are things that are good to consider as associations between the two. Yeah. So we also have, because it's number 17, the Hebrew letter tzadeh, which can be thought of as a fishhook or hunting. But it's also, interestingly, given the value 90, 90 in the Kabbalistic numerical system of the letters. It's the 17th letter, but it represents the number 90, which is interesting because that's the number or the age of Sarah when she gave birth. When she received her annunciation of the birth of her child, her first child, which ended up being the forefather of all of the children of Israel, to the people of Israel. So a new world coming into being, yeah, the announcement of the beginning of something important is a common symbol for the star card, right? After the rupture of the tower, we have the new hope, the new beginning, the fresh start, the annunciation of a fresh start. We also have in runes the rune Berkana, which actually looks kind of like a B instead of a rounded one with triangles for the bumps. And this is the rune for midwifing, but also beginnings, peace, receiving, patience. Also a bird, which is kind of funny. Fertility, like with Sarah in the Bible, growth, liberation. All of these things are echo in the star card, do they not? Regeneration, another echo of the star card. Spring awakening, another echo of the star card. It can also be a love affair or a birth. Again, annunciation of a birth, Sarah, 90, Tzadeh. All of these things are part of this star card, the background story for the star card, which is cool and exciting. And yet when this card showed up in reverse, I was a little bit sad. Yeah, I was a little bit sad because I love the star card. It's one of my favorites. All the cards are my favorites, kind of. But when the star card comes up, I get that, something that's nice kind of feeling, right? But when that's nice comes up in reverse, it's like, that could have been so nice. But really, it's not that bad. And no reversed cards are bad. Just remember that. No reversed cards are bad. No card is a bad card. Pause for thought. Let's move on. But we do want to consider some things. We want to consider vulnerability in this card when it's in reverse. Like the vulnerability of a chick newly hatched from the egg. It doesn't have a lot of protective feathers. Its feathers are still pretty weak, and it's still disoriented, and it's very vulnerable. Also, it's confronted by a strange new world, a world that still needs to be learned. It's a condition of utter surrender to the universe. These are ideas of the star card reversed. It asks us not to put up blocks to the flow of life. No denial. No ego agenda. So to flow along with the current of intention with grace is the suggestion for this card when it's in reverse. Which, when we look back at the justice card, we'd see those, justice, equilibrium, but again, don't let things hang in the balance, avoid crystallization. So like the star card in reversed, allow things to flow. Curb the urge to dictate. You don't know enough. You're still learning in the star card reversed. You're vulnerable, but that vulnerability is a softness, but it's also an openness. So enjoy the ride, I think, is what this card is saying. Enjoy the ride, enjoy not knowing, enjoy the discovery, enjoy the vulnerability that you can allow yourself to experience during this day. Does that make sense? So, what is the challenge? The challenge is the Three of Wands, reversed. And you can see we've got this, let me show it to you upright. We've got a tree. We've got this snake with 3 heads coiled around the tree. We've got the 3 wands on the side. We've got fire in the background. And you can see at the bottom that the attributions are, Aries and the planet Jupiter. So what does that mean? Well, it means that the Three of Wands points to the Sagittarius decade of, points to the Sagittarius decade. Oh, what did I say? Okay, I've forgotten what I've told you. Let me just tell you what I know. So the Three of Wands points to the Sagittarius decade of Capricorn, which is the domicile of the subruler of Jupiter, from which the mutable aspect of cardinal fires, vital attributes, enter our world. And I think I might have misspoke just a little bit, but the truth is, this is the Sagittarius decade of Aries. So Aries has 3 decades, 3 groups of 10 degrees, and it is the 3rd decade of Aries, which is Sagittarius. And because it's Sagittarius, Sagittarius's planet is Jupiter. So Jupiter is beaming through Sagittarius's room in Aries' house into our natal charts, into the world, into the answer to the question, which is, what is the challenge for me? And we've had this card before a few times. It's also, because it's reversed and it is the 3rd decade, instead of an exaltation, it's a fall. Yesterday we had Mars exalted in Capricorn. Remember? Today we have Mars's fall into Cancer. I mentioned yesterday that when we were talking about Mars's exaltation, that there is the fall into Cancer as a potential if that card had been reversed. Well, here we go. We've got Mars falling into Capricorn right here. So, what is this card trying to tell me for a challenge? Well, team motivation or individual focus may weaken. Now, focus might be distracted. It could be difficult to organize the Martian energies when plunged into the wetness of Cancer. Now, yesterday we had the idea of Mars being planning for the future, planting seeds that would sprout. Here we've got Mars plunged into water, and Mars is like, yeah. Perhaps the advice is to find a spiritually significant and inspiring cause or movement so we can stay motivated. It's to find our way back up to the surface and get some air and find our direction. Now, Mars is plunged into the water. Way to lift ourselves up and get our bearings might be to find something that inspires us. Find our star. Upright, our star, right? Because what we're experiencing right now isn't getting us going. And we want to avoid that things hanging in the balance here, crystallization. So the challenge is, this is a negative challenge, I believe. And some ways to get beyond that are to find things that do inspire us. And maybe we want to do things that keep us busy. It might help us to find somebody to follow along or tag along with too. Now, that's not something that would be applicable to me today, but finding things to keep myself busy, perhaps in an enjoyable way, was potential for me today. So what do we have as the advice? The advice here was the King of Discs, which is Taurus, right? And you see this beautiful, beautiful king with a shield up above his head. We've got a disc below his feet. He's holding a shield because this king can do all things. This king can navigate the heavens, the underworld, and the regular old world. Yeah, this king can move anywhere and can connect the worlds. Traverse the worlds, as they say. And the King of Discs points, like I said, to Taurus, which is the domicile of Venus, beauty, connecting of things, sensual enjoyment of things, from which these fixed Earth's vital attributes enter our world. But still, Venus is in a fixed house of enjoyment, of sensual pleasures, but going at their own pace. It's the reaction to Mars. The reaction to Aries. That's like, let's keep going. Let's charge. And Taurus says, whoa. Let's see what's here first. Let's enjoy what's here first. Let's start doing some work. But we don't have to rush, right? So what does that mean for us? Well, it means benefiting from the old ways, following lunar cycles, reading nature, reading our internal nature as well as the external, I would imagine. Managing our raw materials. The King of Discs is an excellent manager of resources. Also connecting with the underworld regions as well as the upper world regions, the heavens. This king is a hard worker and a hard partier. Remember, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Well, this king can do both, but we want to keep it in balance. He knows where they know where and how to find the best stuff, which is an interesting thing. He creates relationships of opportunity through he creates opportunity with good relationships. He manages the wealth for the future. She manages the wealth for the future. They manage the wealth for their future and the future of others. But they must avoid the danger of getting soft or addicted, because this king again likes to party. Taurans like to party too, and they can get so indulged, get so much enjoyment from the sensual pleasures that they forget to do the work as well, to balance their lives a little bit. So that was the advice for me today, which is interesting. Because let me tell you what my day was like today. Well, today I went in and I decided because of this card, that I was going to do what I had thought I might do today. Yesterday I was still in the stage of, I could do this, but maybe not, but maybe yes, but maybe not. And then last night when I got this card, I thought, yeah, I'm going to do that. I decided to split my day in half. The morning, I would work in the office. The afternoon, I would go out and do some shopping for myself at Costco. So that's what I did. That was my playtime, was to go out and do things slowly, leisurely. The morning, focus on the details. In the afternoon, focus on the raw materials. Kind of like this guy, yeah? So in the morning, what I did was I went to work and I finished doing some of the organization that I wanted to finish up doing. I finished inputting information that I wanted to finish inputting. I started working on forms that I wanted to start working on. And I spent the morning doing that kind of stuff. And chatted with a couple of people online. That wasn't so big of a deal. Oh, and this morning, I forgot, I didn't mention this. This morning, I got 2 wonderful compliments from 2 people that I deeply respect, 2 scholars of tarot in different areas of tarot scholarship. But 2 scholars of tarot gave me some wonderful compliments on yesterday's video, actually. And so that really made my day. That really, really, really made my day. That lifted me up. That might have turned my upside down star card right, where is she? Right side up, maybe. So there was that. And then like I said, I did the details, had lunch, and then I went out and after lunch, I cleaned up my office a little bit, and then I went out to catch the bus. I misread the schedule. And so I rushed to catch the bus, and when I got there, I realized that I was looking at the wrong hour. So the bus I thought was going to be there at 2:33, but it was actually 1:33 and 2:45. So I got there really early, but that's okay. So I brought a book with me, a book on tarot, a book by, well, this one actually. Let me show you. This book, which I had gotten recently, on the tarot. This is an excerpt from Le Monde Primitif. Let's see, what is? Let me just make sure I've got. Le Monde Primitif by Antoine Cote de Gebelin. So this is not the entire thing. This is just the section on tarot from that book. So I brought this to read on the bus, as a tarot reader does. And so I sat there and read a little bit. Frankly, when I started reading, I started dozing off a couple of times, just to be 100% honest, but I didn't fight it. When I felt like I was dozing off, I would close my eyes and rest for a while, and then I'd open my eyes and read the book again. So I went to Costco, and here's where I think that he knows where to find the best stuff. So what did I do? My primary purpose for going to Costco was to get wine. Total king of discs thing to do, I think. I did my work. Now I'm going to go find some wine. Not to drink tonight, but for the weekend. So I bought, and also to stock up I've got a little wine cellar refrigerator that was getting depleted, so I wanted to stock that up. So I went to Costco, got a whole bunch of bottles of Chianti and other Italian wines. And I also wanted to shop around for other things that I might want to purchase. I purchased some cheese to go with the bread that I'm baking. And also I purchased some granola, just as like a snacky kind of thing. And I priced other things. I don't go to Costco that often, frankly, because I don't have a car. And anything I buy there, I have to carry on the bus with me. So, and Costco, as you know, sells big stuff mostly. So and Costco's prices for a lot of things are not that much cheaper than I would get at some of the mega markets here in Korea anyways. So I wanted to price things like flour and I wanted to price things like nuts, and I wanted to check the prices on some other things. I did a basic walk around the store. It was not that busy, although, you know, people in Korea and probably in the United States too, they don't really pay attention to what they're doing when they're in a Costco a lot of the time. Now, there are people like me who are very conscientious about where I'm moving with my cart. I want to be on one side. I don't stop my cart anywhere that might interfere with other people. I do not stop my cart in the middle of aisle intersections. On the other hand, other people just do whatever they want, right? They stop the cart in the middle of an aisle intersection, and so other people can't get around. And they stop their cart and they go to the other side of the aisle, and they start spending a lot of time there when their cart is blocking other people from getting to something on the other side of the aisle. You know what I mean? Those things that I consider to be very inconsiderate. And so oftentimes I will, and actually I did a couple times today too. I said, "Excuse me, but," and I said it in Korean, of course, and I tried to be, and okay, I think I was polite, but still. I did ask people to please not block the aisle. Please don't put your cart in front of other things that when you're not looking at them. You know what I mean? So I did fall into that trap just a little bit of being a little bit dictatorial a couple of times. But I tried to catch myself. Maybe I could have caught myself a couple times earlier, but still. So I did fall into that trap a couple of times, frankly. But still, I enjoyed my time there. And I did come away with the wine I wanted. And I came away with some cheese that I think would be good with my bread. And I came away with a bag of granola, like I said. And so I'm thinking that maybe I will start going to Costco a little bit more frequently and figure a way to do it. I think I found a bus that I can take that is not completely out of my way, but it means that would be a day without my bicycle. So my bicycle is my primary source of exercise. So if I go shopping at Costco, I can't do the exercise that I like to do. And so, there are those kinds of calculations. But today, I enjoyed it. Today, I enjoyed myself. I came home. I started my next loaf of bread with this brand new technique that I'm trying out, where you don't have to feed your starter every day. You can just stick it into the refrigerator and pull it out when you need it, and feed it when you need to, and then stick it back in the refrigerator. It makes things much easier. And the technique that I used to bake bread the last time, I'm using that again, and I'm going to try and improve my working of that a little bit more. All things that seem kind of king of disky, right? Managing resources, managing my coworkers, the yeasts and the bacteria, which is, naturally leavened sourdough bread is a co-creation. Now you're managing a whole team of microorganisms to perform a task. Seems total king of discs thing to me. Doesn't it seem like that to you? If it does, let me know in the comments below. If it does not, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. So friends, this is where we are. And if you're still here, thank you for being here. And hit that thumbs up button so that I know and YouTube knows that you got something out of it, and other people would get something out of this too. It draws more eyes to the channel. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit that alarm bell so you get notifications of when I upload videos. And really, indeed, comment below. If you want to get these decks, they are available. Yeah, I've got a link to the website for Christine Payne-Towler. Her deck is a wonderful, wonderful deck. I highly recommend starting with this deck like I did, and then perhaps graduating to the Egyptian Tarot and other Egyptian Tarots, then maybe Atea, then maybe Papus. This can be a total, like I said yesterday, a gateway drug into the continental tarot systems and breaking free of the bondage of the Golden Dawn. which I'm not saying we want to rebel against and destroy. That's not what I'm saying. It's just we can free ourselves of the limitations of only doing Golden Dawn reading. Yeah? One way is to go into Tarot de Marseille. Another way is to go into the more esoteric, astrology-based, Kabbalah-based, continental tarot systems, which is what I'm trying to do this year. Join me. Yeah, get this deck. Then get this deck. If you want the color version of the Egyptian Tarot, I've got a link to that in the description box below too. Amazon link. Very easy to find. And if you want a reading from me, my email address is below. thehangedmaninthemoon@gmail.com. Send me an email. We'll work out a reading for you. And friends, now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.